This one thing is going to help you take control of your life. If you've been feeling lost, frustrated, stuck, or like you're just drifting through life, then this video is going to change that. Learning your values takes you one step closer to a life free of anxiety, depression, and burnout. From there, we can dive into your past and start clearing away any of the mental baggage that's been weighing you down and holding you back in life. Once we've taken care of the past, then we can look into the future. We can start to strategically plan how you would love your life to look and remove any fears, doubts, or imposter syndromes that are standing in the way of you taking action. Let's take the first step now and learn more about your own unique algorithm, your values. Every single person has their own unique set of values. It is your own personal algorithm for how you view the world, what makes you happy, what you find fulfilling, and how you'd love your life to look. No particular set of values are right or wrong. It's just like a fingerprint. There's no such thing as a right fingerprint and a wrong fingerprint. They're all just different. If I was to open up your Instagram, your feed would look completely different to mine. I'd probably find yours very boring because it's not congruent with me, whereas you'd find mine boring. Mine's perfect for me, yours is perfect for you. Why? Because it's in line with your values. Once again, no particular set of values is right or wrong. But the problem is, we live in a world where society tries to put us all in a box. They come out here and then they say, your life should look like this. You should get the house, do the things, go to university, get the degree, go through the whole process. That's how your life should look. You should do this and be happy. But the problem is, most of us are out here with these set of values over here, where doing what we're supposed to means we're unfulfilled. We're living an incongruent life. And because of that, we get frustrated, we get burnt out, we have anxiety, depressions, all those sort of things, because we're trying to live someone else's life. We're letting someone else control the narrative for our life. This is why it's important to learn your values so you can figure out what you want to do. Then we can silence the noises on the outside and you know the path that you want to head down. Now, our values act as our reality filters. We perceive the world not as it is, but as we are. If I went to the shops with you, we could be walking side by side, but we would have completely different experiences. For me, personally, I'd notice all the bookstores. I'd notice something like how people walk, their gaits. I'd notice physique because that's aligned with my values. Things like health, biomechanics, and learning. But that would probably be completely different to you. Just say you're a young mum, you'd probably notice all the young children out and about. You'd notice all the kids' stores. Maybe you notice any of the ladies that are pregnant. You'd notice all the things that are congruent and aligned with your world. Neither version is right or wrong, they're just different. Mine's right for me, yours is right for you. Whether or not we label something as good or bad is purely dependent on whether or not it supports or challenges our values. If I go for Australia and they're versing England, your team in the soccer, and Australia wins, that supports my values, so I'm going to label it as a good thing. But for you, who goes for England, whose team lost, you're going to say it's bad. And that guy from Mongolia that doesn't care about soccer, he's indifferent, he couldn't care less. How is that one thing good, bad, and indifferent? It's not. It's just depending on how we process it because we look at it through our values. So what this means then is if something is supportive, in line with, and congruent with your values, you're going to label it good. If something is challenging your values, is out of alignment with it, or you see it as a disadvantage to your values, you're going to label it as bad. The moral of the story here is that your values dictate your experiences. Something supports and aligns with it, we think it's good. Something challenges and is incongruent, we think it is bad. Now, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and if you stick around on this channel, I'll teach you more and more reasons about this. But here's an example. If I see a tree on fire over there, I can know for certain that something must have happened to cause that tree to set on fire. It didn't just spontaneously erupt in flames. Maybe it got struck by lightning, maybe the neighboring tree was on fire, maybe some little kid set it on fire as a joke. But what I know for sure is something had to happen for that tree to be on fire. The reason why this example is important because I believe that everything that happens in our life is feedback. It is all happening for a reason. If you're trying to pursue a path that is out of alignment with your values, you're going to keep attracting challenges and obstacles, and you're going to feel like you're smacking your head against a brick wall. The reason why this is happening is because you're trying to pursue something that's incongruent, and life just keeps coming in to knock you back on path. It's going to keep happening until you listen and go back in the path of your values. But then when you're living congruently in line with your values, life rewards you. You keep popping into the right people at the right time in the right place to bring you the next opportunity. Everything feels like it's working out for you, and it feels like the universe is conspiring to make your goals and your dreams a reality. So when you're off track, the universe is sending feedback through challenges, through feelings, through emotions, through burnout, through all sorts of things as feedback to try and get you back on path. And when you're on path, you're catching a green light, the universe rewards you and you keep on catching green lights. Now, an important distinction so that you have an idea of what your values will feel like. When you're doing something that's congruent and aligned with your values, it feels like play to you. You've always got energy for it. You could do it for 15 hours without even realizing the time is gone. But then if you're doing something incongruent and unaligned with your values, a minute feels like an hour. Time goes so slow, you're not enjoying the process because it's out of alignment, incongruent, and you'd rather do anything else but that. So the key for a fulfilling and a happy life is building a life that is congruent and aligned with your values. Filling your life with things that you would love to do rather than things that you are doing out of obligation or doing because you think you should or have to. It's important that you are setting goals that are congruent and aligned with your values. Going back to that analogy of society trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Society tells you that these should be your goals, this is what your life should do. But if you're someone that wants to go live in a monastery overseas, if that's what your heart is singing for and that's what you'd love to do, then don't let anyone tell you you can't do that. You get to decide. It's your life. You get to write the scripts for how you'd love it to look. But if you're setting goals that are congruent and aligned, you're going to have the energy to pursue them. You're going to be more resilient when challenges pop up. You're going to see the challenges as on the way rather than in the way. If you're setting goals that are unaligned with your values, if you're letting someone else choose your goals, when challenges pop up, you're going to want to cave. You're going to want to give up. You're not going to have the energy to keep going and pursuing it because you don't really want the outcome at the end of the day anyway. By understanding your values, you give yourself the best possible chance to set goals that are congruent and aligned and achieving those goals. They'll come more easily to you and feel like play, and you'll feel the reward from actually pursuing it. If you have zero interest in going to the gym and getting fit, but you're going to do that because that's what the world tells you to do, then you're not going to enjoy the process. You're not going to have the energy for it. You're going to find excuses, and then you're going to beat yourself up for not doing something that you didn't want to do in the first place. And it just becomes this whole vicious cycle, all stemming from being out of alignment with your values. So what we can see pretty clearly here is that your values become your North Star. They're your guide for decision making. If someone invites you to something, you take a moment and you ask yourself, is this congruent and aligned with my values? Is this something I'd love to do? If it's a yes, then you do it. If it's out of alignment and incongruent with your values, you don't have to do it. There are no obligations in life. If you keep going to things that you don't want to do, then you're going to train people to think that they can keep inviting you to that thing. If you hate going to the pub for drinks, but you keep going out of obligation, then how will your friends ever learn to know that that's not something you want to do? The change starts with you. If you decide that, no, I'm not going to go to the pub anymore, I would rather go for coffees or go for walks, that's the socializing I want to do, then all you have to do is start saying no a couple of times and start training your friends, or just have an open and honest conversation with them saying, I would rather go for walks, I'd rather go for coffees, I don't want to drink anymore. That's the only way that they're going to know. And then you get to start building that life that is more congruent and aligned with you because you're doing what you would love to be doing and not doing things that you don't want to out of obligation. So having your values there shows you that there are no rules for your life. You get to build and decide how you want it to look, and it gives you that matrix, that decision matrix, where you can see if things are in line or out of line with your values. If they're in line, you go. If they're out of line, like your sister's neighbor's dog's birthday party, then you can say, no, thank you, I'm all right, cheers. Alrighty, so there's an overview of values, how they're the most important thing in your life and the most important thing to know and align your life with. They determine what goals you'd love to achieve. They determine what you find fulfilling, what gives you energy, how you would love your life to look. Without knowing your values, you're going to have a very hard time deciding what you would love your life to look and knowing where you're going to go. You can't reach the destination if you don't know where it is. Cool. So information alone is not the answer. Otherwise, we would all be billionaires with abs. Let's dive in and let's uncover your values. The way we're going to do this today is I have 8 introspective questions for you that provide a deep insight into what your unique algorithm is, what the underlying motivating factor is for your decisions and your actions. So grab a pen and pad, come on back, make sure you pause the video and take the time to answer each question properly. You gain nothing by rushing this exercise. The more attention and energy you put into it, the better the results will be for you. So grab the stuff and let's dive in. Looking back at your childhood, what did you feel was most missing in your life? Was it maybe being seen, being heard, having freedom, having money? Were your parents very controlling? Did they always say, no, sorry, we can't afford it? What was the thing that you felt was most missing in your life? Because your biggest voids as a child create the biggest values for you as an adult. If you had unlimited money, what would you do with your life? What service or outcomes would you be dedicating your time towards? Now, a lot of people would hear this question and think, oh, I'll sit on a beach and get drunk somewhere. But no, you'll get over that. Every human needs a purpose. Without a purpose, we feel unfulfilled and our cup is empty. Once you've done all the travel and all those sort of things, what will be the thing that you would go to? 60, 70, 80 years is a very long time. You'd find something to do. What would that service be? What would you be dedicating your time towards? What are you known for by your friends and family? What is the thing that they can always count on you for or to do? Maybe you're a fantastic chef. Maybe you're always got a funny joke. Maybe you're the person that they can confide in, the person that's always reliable. What is that number one thing that the people around you can count on you for and know you for? What is the thing that you are super disciplined with and will show up for without being held accountable or motivated by others? Maybe it's training, diet, learning, could be whatever. But what we forget is that we are most disciplined and reliable in our values alone. We forget that everyone else doesn't have those values. We take for granted that these are the things that we'll go do spontaneously, but most other people aren't. So what are those things that you're disciplined and reliable to show up for every day or most days? Who are your top 5 people or characters from all time? There have been billions and billions of people that have existed and billions that currently live. Out of all those people, who are your 5 favorites? And then what is the consistent theme between those people? Maybe it's characters like Harvey Specter or Donna from Suits. Maybe it is a person like Barack Obama or someone else out there that's doing incredible things. Find your 5 people and then recognize, why is it these 5 people that are my most favorite? What is the common themes that I find inspiring? What is it about them that makes these people my favorites? What are the topics that you most love to talk about or learn about? What are the things that you're always wanting to fill your brain with or to be talking to others about? Maybe you love aesthetics and cosmetics. You're always talking about makeup, interior design, about how you like things to look, about what you're wearing. Maybe you love diet and health and fitness. You're always talking to people, giving people suggestions on diet. What are those things that you're always wanting to bring conversations back to or to be filling your brain learning about? What energizes you the most? What is that thing that acts as that pick-me-up? It's like a coffee and Red Bull for you. And we're not looking for foods or anything like that. It's that thing that you go to do and you'll leave with more energy than when you started. That you could do it any time of the day, even in midnight. Someone asks you to do it and you're always available. You're always willing to do it. All right, so those are your questions. Take your time working through it, come back to them, whatever. They're very, very important because they cut through all the surface level stuff and they help you to figure out exactly what's making you tick. Now, the game is won or lost with implementation. You could attempt to go at this alone and maybe you get a result, but it might take you months or years. Or you can follow the prescribed path that I've already laid out for you, where we will get you out of the rut sooner. To get started, all you have to do is book in a free 15-minute discovery call, where I'll show you how mindset work will transform your life. The sooner you start, the sooner you reap the rewards. Book in the call. All right, that's all from me. I'll see you next time.